live from Kentucky and Louisiana. 2 Marines, 1 mission. This is Sense and Senseless.
I want to go back to the Iran strikes now. So far in Trump's second administration, I mean, he's been able to push his weight around pretty good. You know, I mean, the art of the deal for him has been pretty much just playing hardball, and he's been able to get pretty much what he wants. You know, with other countries. I'm not saying he's like pushing us around like he's a dictator or something, but you know, the tariffs, everything that he's doing, pushing the UN and all, he's holding the line and he's pushing and he's getting what he wants. I mean, you can't say he's not. And sometimes he may seem like a bully, but fuck, he might even be a bully to a lot of people. And honestly, I'm good with that as long as it's good for our country. I really am. You know,
Right.
I believe that we should have someone that fights for our countries.
Right.
But I also believe that eventually, I mean, somebody's going to push back. I mean, that's just the law of averages. And
Right.
what does that look like when they push back? I don't know. But I know if someone does push back, if it's going to be the Middle East, it's going to be unconventional. Just like you were saying earlier, that, you know, they don't have a, you know, full like military. They just random ass people, whatever, doing unconventional shit to fight a war.
Mhm. Yep.
So that brings me to this. We still don't know who's in this damn country, you know? And according to Sarah Adams and others, we have foreign terrorist cells in our country. So I'm going to play this from Sarah Adams. This was when she was on with Sean Ryan a few weeks ago. I think we played a couple clips from her on this last week. Check this out.
When Joe Kent says there's 18,000 terrorists on U.S. soil,
18,000 terrorists.
it's known. So the terrorists I gave them, they did not know any of them were on U.S. soil. Our government's telling the American public, hey, the border's closed. Well, the border's closed maybe if you're a poor person from Latin America. The border's not closed if you're part of a billion-dollar terrorist organization who can just pay the Sinaloa cartel to bring you through a tunnel. So there's tons they don't know. But a lot of people are like, well, why haven't they attacked yet? Some of them are for those future waves.
Holy shit.
Heidi put 1,000 in the first wave, as we know. But there's future waves. I remember like the U.S. was putting out a lot of propaganda, like we're gonna get the worst of the worst and take off all these people out of the United States. So ISIS started freaking out and they had a meeting and they're like, we need to figure out how many actually terrorists we have in the United States that could get wrapped up in these operations. And they realized they had over 2,500 ISIS members. That's just Syria and Iraq. In the United States illegally. That doesn't count anyone in a green card because they sent a lot through programs just like the Afghanistan one. It's just as corrupt. So that's just one terrorist group.
There's one terror group.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the terrorists are waiting.
I'm just curious. What are they waiting for? Why wait?
Well, they're not waiting. So you have to look at it this way. It takes time to train everyone, right? It takes time to deploy everyone. And then when you deploy, you got to make your bombs. You got to do your pre-attack surveillance. And then remember, they want to choose a time that are weakest or not prepared. October 7th, they pushed an entire year. Those terrorists sat around waiting an entire year knowing, hey, we were supposed to do October 7th, 2022. I also think a part of it is they want to test even the patience of the terrorists because they want to make sure you can sit there. When they train them, they do say, hey, when we sent the guys to Nairobi, remember the attacks on the embassies got delayed 9 months and nobody talks about that in 1998 because the TNT showed up late. So even if they choose a date, things happen. And we've had actually things happen in the Homeland plot. So first off, one of the you know how I said there's these kind of couple dozen commanders. Well, one of them, Faraj al-Hamasi, it's crazy. So he's Libyan, okay? He has to leave Libya and go to Turkey and then wait in Turkey to deploy here to come and then lead his cells, okay? So he leaves Libya, he throws his passport away because he gets a fake Syrian passport to travel with. I don't know where he threw this passport away, but there's this do-gooder in Libya that finds driver's licenses and passports and literally takes the passport, puts it up on a Facebook page and says, hey, if you lost this passport, call me. I mean, that's an Al-Qaeda terrorist passport sitting on a Facebook page.
It's a way to find your passport, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry.
Crazy.
I mean, we don't know what's in this country. You know, we don't know based off of what happened this morning if that affects anything that's in this country. She might be wrong. There might not be any terrorists in this country. I'd be betting that she's closer to the right than not. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, they showed pictures of them crossing the border, even up there in Canada and all that. And it was military age men, and it wasn't Hispanics. It was Arabic men.
Yeah. So you would, how about all the Chinese? And I'm not saying the Chinese are going to come and kill us either, but I mean, how many, what they call fighting age Chinese, just all these different countries sending people in here. If eventually, who's said it all join together and just beat our ass?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, man. But it's scary. You know, I'm laughing about it now, but it's not a laughing matter. I mean, we need to know this. And to add to this shit, all right, so that wasn't bad enough. To add to this shit, we have these cartels in Mexico, right, that are terrorists themselves. Did you see what happened to that leader when he got killed last Sunday? What they did to the fucking Mexican towns? Oh, fuck. Right. So this is the chaos that went on in Mexico. Let's check this out.
Mexico has been plunged into chaos following the death of top drug lord El Mencho. He was killed during a military operation supported by US intelligence in the western state of Jalisco. He led the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, a criminal organization so ruthless that President Donald Trump classified it as a terrorist organization. Within hours of his death, cartel gunmen blocked highways, torched vehicles, and took over the streets, plunging Mexico into all-out war. Smoke rose over cities including Guadalajara, a host city for the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Officials reported around 250 roadblocks, bank branches being set on fire, and mass looting. The US State Department has since issued travel warnings and a shelter-in-place warning for the US citizens in affected areas described by tourists as war zones. El Mencho wasn't just another cartel boss. He controlled major fentanyl, meth, and cocaine routes into the US and had a $15 million bounty on his head. He was linked to beheadings, mass killings, and even an extermination ranch discovered last year containing underground crematorium ovens and hundreds of shoes. Once a former police officer, he built a private army equipped with grenade launchers, drones, and even helicopters, openly challenging the Mexican state. Now, with his removal, authorities fear violent retaliation as groups fight to fill the vacuum. But for now, they're dealing with the immediate consequence of removing one of the most powerful and violent figures in the country's modern history.
So yeah, now we got that little war that happened last Sunday because they killed old El Mencho.
El Mencho?
Yeah, and I'm sure, there's going to be, other ones that take over, and that's going to create probably some kind of territory war between more cartels. But the way I look at it, I mean, while they burn in Mexico and all, it doesn't sound bad. But we need to realize that these people in this country also, and so I had to look into this, and these motherfuckers have their hands in all kind of shit. So let's start with the money, because everything in this cartel does flow from one thing, and it's drugs. They call them the undisputed king of fentanyl that we got pouring into the United States comes from these people. They cook it in super labs using a precursor chemical shipped straight from China. And then they move methamphetamine by the ton, and then cocaine from South America, heroin, and whatever else gets people hooked. The DEA estimates put their U.S. operations in almost all 50 states, billions of dollars a year. These people are getting. And
that dude was the kingpin, and you seen his. I'm not judging somebody, but that dude looked little. Like
he did. When I seen him, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, man, that dude looked little. I
could see that dude working at Taco Bell or something. I mean, how's this dude? Bell? Yeah, like how's he running a cartel?
Well, it's even funnier than that. I'm glad you said, and this is probably why, because I was thinking, why is he running a cartel? But they said this cartel is run like a Fortune 500 company. And the reason they say that is because they diversified. They in all kind of shit. They in the fuel theft.
Diversified?
Yeah. They got fuel theft. They tap into Pemex pipelines, steal millions of liters of gasoline stored in secret tanks, and sell it at fake gas stations or smuggle it north. They make tens of millions a year on that.
That makes me giggle. Diversified, like
They are.
hey, can we see your CING? Can we see y'all's portfolio? Yeah, we diversify.
Yeah, we in
We're
fuel
not
theft.
just in the fuel theft, extortion, trafficking, you name it, we do it.
That's
What are
right.
they, like damn on Step Brothers, Worldwide Prestige?
Yeah, worldwide.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
worldwide.
So they got, what else does they got? They got kidnapping, human trafficking, illegal logging and mining, timeshare fraud.
Illegal they're logging?
Yeah, they strip
These little
forests.
bastards are logging, huh?
Yeah. And they sell the timber.
They're going to be on the next Axeman or Woodsman or whatever. Next thing you know, they'll be on Deadliest Catch, dude, out there crabbing. Or gold mining up there with Parker and Schnabel and Tony Beats.
Well, you would think that this little guy, I mean, just a brainiac because of the way he got all this shit going. But I mean, this isn't just street level crime. These motherfuckers are brutal. And
yeah.
So I looked at a few of them to see exactly what they had going on. And in 2011 in Veracruz, they dumped 35 tortured bodies in public. Signs of extreme mutilations, some with messages carved in the flesh. And in 2015, they ambushed the state police. 15 officers were slaughtered in one hit. And then they also took out a Mexican army helicopter with a rocket-propelled grenade that year. 9 soldiers died. In 2020, broad daylight in Mexico City, they ambushed the capital's top police chief, Omar Harcook. Hundreds of rounds fired, bodyguards and bystanders dead. Message received, nowhere is safe. So they ran film interrogations, blindfolded rivals, forced to confess before being beheaded, dismembered, burned alive, sometimes worse. There are videos of recruits ordered to kill their own friends as training. And some reports even mention forced cannibalism in certain camps. So, I mean, these aren't the best people we have. And they're operating also in the United States. So if this cartel's in the United States, I'm pretty sure the other cartels are in the United States, right? Because right now, the DEA estimate is that they have either the associates, facilitators, or affiliates operate in almost all 50 states. And they handle the wholesale distribution, local networks, money laundering, and street-level operations tied to the local cartels. They say that, they're not as ruthless in the United States because we have laws. They don't typically engage in that kind of stuff, which, I mean, I can understand that. Doesn't mean that they're good people. He said, but instead they rely on low-profile sales, corrupt contacts, and partnerships with local gangs. They traffic fentanyl, money laundering through businesses, and occasional high-level operatives living undercover. Like they got family members or lieutenants posing as ordinary residents in the United States. So yeah. What else? What was the other one we had? That they was been trying to get rid of, Nicaragua. So we got these people.
Another Mexican gang or something?
They out of was it Venezuela?
Oh.
Yeah, that's all the ones that was all tatted. I mean, they got a whole bunch of them. They're pretty bad. I mean, we got some serious fucking people in our country.
Yeah, it used to be the Bloods and the Crips, dude, and then the mob. You know what I'm saying? You had the American gangs don't even come close to these sumbugs. I'm just being honest, man.
No, you're right. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, they work for these guys, and I'm just seeing now in one of my notes that took, it says they in 40 countries. Focused on supplying.
I mean, they are diversified, dude. That's a business.
Yeah.
That's a Fortune 500 business right there, dude.
Their main focus is on supplying the American market. The cartel's largest customer for fentanyl and meth is the United States. So in my opinion, we need to stop the demand, because without the demand, they don't make any money. So if we can stop the demand of those type of drugs and fucking of little kids, we can stop a lot of this shit.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You can't. People get hooked on that stuff. It's a sick world out there, Brian.
I don't
Sick
understand
world.
how you get hooked on a kid.
Well, prison's full of them.
You're right. Well, I'm assuming that you didn't see the whistleblower.
No, I did not.
So we're
We
going to
talked
get to
about
that
that earlier. I think that
That'd
in
be
our
fine.
intro.
Huh? You in
Yeah,
trouble?
I want. No, I said we talked about that during the intro because I tried to whistle.
Oh, so you remember when we were talking about Alex Preddy and the shooting and all, and we were like, fuck, hold on, let me just play it. And that'll be easy. Kind of mind blowing that. All that shit happened so damn fast. You know, I can see how shit can go wrong. Having said that, I think they had that man under control. Now, whenever they hollered gun, they should have had more communication on that because that guy just pulls around and.
You want to know what happened? I'm not. Let me get this out first, Brian. They were wrong. The ICE agents were wrong there. They messed up bad because of bad communication. Dude said gun, and then they were like, "Oh shit!" Just started shooting. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's like Jennifer yells help right now. You can't just run up in there and just start shooting up the place. She's like, "Dude, I just needed a hand putting this bowl back up. Thanks for blowing holes in the wall." You see what I'm saying? You got to be under control. I don't know. And I don't know what these guys' training are. And I know you said the whistles and the PTSD and all the crap that's going on or whatever. Then can they not go through buds training and stuff like that, Brian? Or not full buds, but similar? Because Navy SEALs know how to hold their composure. Delta Force knows how to hold their composure.
Well, here's the difference, though, and this is going to sound bad. You're talking about elite groups, and there's a lot of people that do not make it through that training. If you did that for ICE, you would not have enough people to run the streets. If you did that for police officers, you would not have enough people. You just don't have enough people that can make it through that style of training. I agree with you. But
What
that's
happened to like
elite.
U.S. Marshals and stuff? Why aren't we using them? Because you don't
Well,
hear
again,
them having this problem.
That's still a small group. I think we're trying to, and this could be, I could be wrong. I think we're just trying to grow this so fast because they need to get so many people in there. We might not have the best trained people there.
Okay, so then here's the deal. This is where we need to fix this. But the problem is, you with the Tim Walls and all that of this country and these blue states. I'm just being honest. And Kentucky with Brashear would probably be the same thing. Handy dandy. To me, you could have small groups, Brian, that get with like local SWAT teams that go get this.
No, you can't because they don't even, the local police won't even work with them now.
That's what I'm getting at, but that's how it should be being done.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it should
be highly trained elite guys that go in with local SWAT teams, and we're gonna do that. As Andy said, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna get through this together, people. That's what we're gonna do. We got a common goal to get criminals out of here and out of our country that aren't here legally. Sorry, and wherever you fall from the murderer down to just your papers aren't any good. You're out of here. You're going.
Yeah, I agree. We have to do something different. And
Yeah,
the optics are just they bad and people are dying. I mean, when you start having people dying, especially 2 people within a 3-week period or whatever it was pretty damn close together. That's gonna look bad no matter what, no matter what.
Can I play the devil's advocate on that? If he wouldn't have had a weapon on him, gun would have never been said.
No,
and we'll never know that. We'll never know if that's what caused a shooting that shouldn't have happened because somebody yelled gun. You just don't yell gun. You should be communicating. He has a gun holstered. I'm retrieving the gun. Not a threat at this time. He should be calling that out, but he didn't. He just yelled gun. He just yelled gun.
Or did he try to grab one of their guns? I don't know. We haven't seen the body cam footage either. There might have been something that happened in the scrum that might have been different. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there could have been some angles or some AI. We know AI they can use AI to redo that image and all that stuff. So
yeah. So
they showed his hands out in front of him.
We're going to find out more and more information right now. It don't look good. It don't look good. It looks like they're just ill trained. Having said that, I mean, something else could come out later and it could, totally
and you'll never know
that.
if this guy is held accountable by the government or not. And I'm sorry, people, he should be held. They should be held accountable. They should. If it was wrong, it's wrong. I mean, because what I'm seeing is wrong.
You remember that?
Oh yeah. I still hold to that. They were wrong.
They were wrong.
Yeah.
Well, they had a whistleblower come out. I don't know if it was last week or this week or whatnot. And you're gonna be this is pretty fucking interesting. Let's check this out.
My name is Ryan Schwank. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an assistant chief counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned on February 13th, 2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today. I am here because I am duty-bound to report the legally required training program at the ICE Academy is deficient, defective, and broken. 5 months ago, I was asked to teach the law to new cadets at the ICE Academy in Glencoe, Georgia, where ICE is training its new, inexperienced recruits. I volunteered, those without law enforcement training, I volunteered to take on this assignment based on my experience in law enforcement oversight, including at the state and local level prior to my work with ICE. On my first day, I received secretive orders to teach new cadets to violate the Constitution by entering homes without a judicial warrant. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program. Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. For example, they ceased all of the legal instructions regarding use of force. This means that cadets are not taught what it means to be objectively reasonable, the very standard which the law requires them to meet when deciding whether or not to use deadly force. Our jobs as instructors are to teach them so well that they can make split-second decisions about what they can and cannot do in life or death situations. Yet, in the name of churning out an endless stream of officers, DHS leadership has dismantled the academic and practical tests that we need to know if cadets can safely and lawfully perform their job. All to satisfy an administration demanding they train thousands of new officers before the end of the year.
So you think the training was correct or what?
Yeah, I stand behind what I said. I mean, that's proven fact watching the video, dude, and you and hearing this other stuff. They're not trained properly.
No, I mean, you're just bringing them through just to get more people on the street.
Yeah.
That's sad. I mean, that's two
Yeah, it
lives.
is.
That
It
guy's
is.
right. That's 2 lives that were lost because they were just trying to pump people out. And Jennifer
Yep.
says she hears on Pandora all the time they offering like $50,000 sign-on bonuses to get on with ICE and shit. And I'm not saying I disagree with ICE. I think ICE is a great thing. I think that they should be doing what they're doing. Having said that, you have to go through the proper training. And it didn't look like,
And it's like they're rushing them through or whatever because like Trump's like, I don't know who's doing this. I mean, I hope he heard that. That had to have been in front of a committee at the White House.
Well, I was on at Washington, not at the White House though.
Oh yeah, but Washington is what I mean.
Yeah.
So hopefully he heard that and puts his foot down and says, hold up. But the deal is like somebody's trying to look good is what they're trying to do to get all this, like they're going to clean this stuff up in a year of what Biden did. It's going to take a long time. I mean, dude, I never heard of them going just straight up into people, but he just admitted they were.
Yeah,
They were being
people
told
were
to.
complaining about it, but I was like, that was just a lie, you know. And and this guy
There
could
was
be
no
full of
video.
shit too. But I would assume that if you're under oath, you would be telling the truth. I would assume.
Yeah. And then you showed that Nazi looking son of a buck with the flat top and the crew cut.
You know,
walking the street with them. I mean, I could see that dude telling people that.
Oh yeah, I can see that. And you see him, and that was a bad look. And I can guarantee you that they were doing some shady shit, you know, just by looking at that guy and the demeanor he had. But I started thinking about the way they went about business. And if you was around in the 90s, the early 90s, you remember Rodney King getting whooped.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was just awful. At any time, those guys could have stopped and just, I mean, he kept saying it was lunging. I mean, semantics. They just, at that time, no one got videoed. I don't know if it would call it luck or what you would call it, that someone actually took a camcorder out and started recording the Rodney King beating, because not everyone walked around with a camera with them. Because, I mean, you had those big ass camcorders, it wasn't like today, Yeah. So this was, from what I remember, this was the first big video recording from someone that wasn't in the news, that actually blew up. And this showed what those people were doing. Now imagine that wasn't the first time they did shit like that. That was just the first time you seen it on camera. And I think the same way when I think about the ICE agents. Some of the stuff you see, that's not the first time you see it. That's the first time you've seen it on camera. And I'm not blaming those guys for what I understand it all. I understand what they're going through, and I can sympathize with that. That doesn't change the fact that you got to abide by rules. It's sad. To be a good person, you have to abide by rules. Trust me, I get it. Sometimes it's a lot easier just to say fuck it, and just do what's, someone else is doing. But if you're going to be the good guy, you have to abide by rules, and you're going to be handicapped a lot of times. And is it fair? It doesn't mean that it's fair. Life ain't fucking fair. That's just the way we are. And if you can't do the job, then you shouldn't do it. And again, I support them 100%, but I want them to do what's right, because just because those people were shot and killed in that aspect, doesn't mean that this shit can't turn. And, you just be out there trying to say your piece and you get shot, and then they just blame it on you being unruly. I mean, it just could go so many different ways.
No, it's piss poor training. Or what do they always tell us in the Marines? Piss poor training.
Proper planning prevents piss poor training.
Piss poor performance. Yes.
Proper planning prevented piss poor performance.
And you could plug training in there.
Yep.
There's a reason why Marines train and military trains the way they do, and we do it all the time. It's like, will we please ever stop? I'm sick and tired of this. But when the shit hits the fan, it's muscle memory.
Yep.
That comes out. You don't even have to think about it. It just comes out.
That's what I wanted to tell you about the terrorists and shit. So you got these terrorists and these cartel members, and they train like paramilitary, and they're probably training 5 to 7 times a week. Now, you might have a gun, I might have a gun, the neighbor might have a gun, but we're not training with each other.
No.
You see what I'm getting at? So these people will be pretty goddamn efficient should they decide to take something over.
Yes.
You know what I'm getting at?
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you need to go out and find what you call them, not military, but
a militia.
A militia, join a militia and start training. I mean, if you want to, so be it. I mean, I'm not going to say you shouldn't do it, but I'm not saying that you have to go do it. What I'm saying is they got some people out there that's training to kill somebody in this fucking country all the time. And we're not training to defend yourself together. I mean, you might be training on your own, but it's hard to actually do something on your own. It really is,
Right.
All right. So now let's talk about some AI drama. I think you're going to really find this fucking interesting. Have you heard of Anthropic?
No,
I haven't either until this week. I've heard of Claude. Claude is the AI portion of Anthropic. But I put a little cut together from some of the media to point out what I'm about to show you, so you'll understand that, hey, look, it's just not Brian going crazy.
I love Brian going crazy.
Breaking news from Anthropic in a response to what was framed as a last and final offer, a best and final by the Pentagon. An answer was not due to the close of business tomorrow, but Dario Amodei of Anthropic is out with a statement on discussions with the Department of War, suggesting that despite threats to cut off ties with Anthropic and in fact designate the company as a supply chain risk, he says the company is not changing its position. Quote, "We cannot in good conscience accede to their request, remembering that Anthropic had made clear that it did not want its AI technology to be allowed for use in either mass surveillance or human-free autonomous weapons.
What types of guardrails is Anthropic asking for?
So Anthropic has long been the AI company. You might also use Claude like you use ChatGPT. Anthropic's been concerned about safety for a long time, and their CEO, Dario Amodei, has always been talking about safety when AI is able to do its own thing. The two guardrails that Anthropic is asking the Pentagon to maintain as it uses technology in the military is basically preventing mass surveillance and any possible violation of the Fourth Amendment. And secondly, defense officials want to use it in military action, but Anthropic is saying not just AI-guided military operations because they want a human to stay involved.
So Anthropic has been battling with the Pentagon all week to either allow the U.S. government to let the Department of Defense use its technology, no questions asked, or to be labeled a supply chain risk. This is according to sources. That designation is a huge deal, so it's typically reserved for companies tied to American adversaries. You think of Huawei, for example. Axios is now reporting that the Department of Defense is going forward with that. They're laying the groundwork, asking Boeing and Lockheed Martin to outline how much they actually rely on Anthropic's AI model, Claude. I have also been told the government could invoke the Defense Production Act, so that would let them use emergency authority to basically force Anthropic's hand here. I also just heard from a senior Pentagon official who told CNBC the Department of War sent Anthropic its last and final offer Wednesday night to allow the Pentagon access to Anthropic's Claude for all lawful purposes.
Okay. So let me explain a little background on that for you. It came to, from what I understand, whenever they went in and got Maduro, they used some kind of AI shit to do that. And Anthropic didn't like or whatever what they were used or something. And somehow some questions got raised. And the government, they have contracts with OpenAI, XAI, Google, and Anthropic. All right, that's their AI people. They asked for a change of terms to change the terms of agreement in the contract to where the government would have full access to their AI. And Anthropic pushed back. They were the only ones to push back. And the Pentagon gave them till yesterday at 5 o'clock or close of business, whatever it was, to come to terms with them, or they were going to basically blackball them from the government. So yesterday at 5 o'clock, since they didn't come to terms, Trump even announced that Anthropic's no longer to be used by any government agency, in the U.S. So they got rid of them. So Anthropic lost their contract to hold, the line on what their morals are, where the other three companies just sold it out. Now I'm about to play you a video on why the Pentagon wants Anthropic, or why what they're looking to do. All right, let's check this shit out.
I'm going to scare you with an AI story, and I usually don't do this. I found that I've spent so many years scaring people with AI stories that it's not to everyone's taste, and I understand that. But right now, the Pentagon is trying to force one of the top, if not the top AI company to basically give them a no guardrails included version of their product. Anthropic is being given a Friday 5 o'clock deadline to either give the Pentagon all the keys to the kingdom, or they get blacklisted and can't basically do government business in the future. So we can fight about the policy part of it and the ethics and so forth, but I just want to tell you a few things that AI is making possible already in the military and surveillance world, and why that's so scary, and why you should be worried about that, and why you should care that there's no democratic input. You don't get to vote on this. There's no legislatures that get to vote on this. There's no public, input process. None of that is happening. And as a result, you are just going to live in a world in which, as I'm about to tell you, even some of the stuff you already have in your house can be used to spy on you because of AI. So the big one from a few years ago that really made a lot of headlines in my world was one from Carnegie Mellon University, where this trio of students basically came up with a system that combines a system from Meta called DensePose and combines it with Wi-Fi signals from any 3 routers. All you need is 3 Wi-Fi routers, $30 routers in someone's home, to triangulate the position of people and begin creating a live video feed of those people and where they are at any given moment. You don't have to see them. You can do it from the other side of a wall. And as a result, you could park a van next to someone's house and know just where people are inside that house without having to have a warrant to look inside. Dense pose. It's a crazy thing. I have each of these sourced and all the links and everything at theripcurrent.com for your chilling reading pleasure. Another one is a system developed for the special forces called Jetson. I don't know why they are constantly grabbing sci-fi tropes that were from a sort of utopian thing and then making them super scary, but that's or they'll make really scary things out of really scary sci-fi tropes. I don't really understand. They just never seem to understand the sci-fi tropes. Anyway, Jetson is a system that uses a laser to read your heartbeat from a distance at about 200 feet, I think it is. Maybe it's yards. And at that distance, they can identify your heartbeat so precisely that they can actually identify you individually from it. One researcher from SUNY Buffalo told reporters that it is more consistent over time than facial recognition and has about 98% accuracy. And this is a thing where you can't cover it. You can't cover your heart. You can't leave it at home, right? You can't take any of the normal steps you would want to. And the last one I'll tell you, there's a whole list of them at theripcurrent.com, but the last one I'll mention to you is recently a contractor, defense military contractor called Otarian. I've never said the name out loud. I've only read it. They are an Arlington, Virginia-based company, and they created a system where, for years, we've talked about human in the loop, that you have to have a human involved in a kill decision. But this is a company that just did a demonstration in which they not only had a system that didn't need a human to make the kill decision, they had a system that was comprised of multiple products from different companies, drones and fixed-wing aircraft and all these things, all being controlled by a single piece of AI. And that system can do the operation, find somebody, and kill them without any humans involved. If a military were to choose to do that, you basically are relegated as the human in the loop there to a position of not saying yes, do this, but just being like someone who just decides whether or not you're going to stand in its way. So you go from human in the loop to human in the loop to be able to possibly say no to why wake the human up at all? Let's just kill this guy. We've identified him by his heartbeat and we know where he is in the house because of the Wi-Fi, and now let's go get him. So I say all of this not to just be dystopian, but to say when Anthropic says we don't want to give you everything, this is the world that they know we're entering, a world in which people have already shipped some really creepy shit that is absolutely poised to violate your civil rights and make it possible for people to kill humans without ever having to consult their own ethics and feelings about it, much less look that person in the eye. And so when you think about the Friday deadline that Pentagon is putting on Anthropic, I just have to say I'm grateful that any company is taking that kind of deadline seriously and not just saying, well, fuck it, we'll just give you whatever you want. This is a company that clearly knows that their stuff can be put to really scary purposes. They have a policy page that basically says you shouldn't be allowed, their product won't be used to identify someone's emotional state or physical location without their consent, that you can't use AI to enhance weapons. They're trying to be on the right side of history here. And it turns out that staying on the right side of history is going to be increasingly hard considering how fast some really scary stuff is getting built.
So are we bullying private sectors now?
Yeah, because they want that kind of power.
That's creepy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get.
Hey, if you can have something making precise decisions that doesn't have human morals in it, you imagine the power you'd have. Drones.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. So you got, even with the drone, Brian, you got a human sitting there flying it from a box that has to have morals. Now you can just have this stuff, AI control it, and it has no morals. You just tell it what to do and it does it.
Yeah, me and Jennifer were talking about this earlier, and I told her what's scary is, so even if you don't look at it in the military aspect, say you take the AI and you just trying to, I don't know, let's just say AI starts to think that, and it just say it's right that the environment shit that we all laugh about is really critical, and it needs to lose 1 billion people, before the environment can get better.
Right.
AI wouldn't think twice about just taking off. It would probably start eliminating the people it didn't need. Like that. Who was actually putting out in the society? Well, the elderly's not. They'll get rid of some kids. They're going to get rid of anything that's not putting together society because they
people
have no
that have
conscience.
disease.
Yep.
Yeah. Welfare people.
And just
people
start getting
draining
rid of
the
them until
system.
they
Yeah.
get to a point to where they're like, okay, now the climate's not a problem anymore because of people, and then they'll start fixing something else. Yeah, it could be really fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah.
And then the Terminator shows up.
Yeah.
I mean,
If
that's
you
all
want
you
to live,
need.
follow me. Yeah.
That's all you need is the fucking Terminator. If you watch the Terminator, you'd be like, yeah, fuck AI. I mean, iRobot's one thing, but the Terminator's just like, yeah, this motherfucker coming back for you. Just leave that shit alone.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
So I thought I'd show that shit because I thought that Anthropic stuff, when I first started seeing it was like this shit that don't make any sense. And then I started looking more and more into it, and it's like, man, the government bullying, the AI. And I understand we need it. I really do, but I appreciate Anthropic, if nothing else, for at least holding off, because the government's gonna get what they want regardless. They even said that they can enact some act and just take it from them if they want it. So I mean, they still got other AIs they can use, and if they need Anthropic, they'll probably just go take it. But at least someone's standing for their own morals, and that's good to see these days.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna play this about Malcolm X just because it's gonna bring us around to what I want to talk about next, and we're almost done here. So just give me a little bit, and I got a little fun I'm gonna have with you at the end. So just check this out.
If you study history long enough, patterns begin to emerge. And sometimes the story isn't who you think it is. He was born in the Midwest. Standing over 6'4", he stood out. He was described as smart and confident, but would never attend college. Instead, he found his calling inspiring young people of his own generation through rousing speeches and confrontational debates, especially on college campuses. To supporters, he was fearless. To critics, deeply polarizing, particularly when he spoke about race and culture. To add to the polarization, he was part of a group that some saw on the fringes of religion. Yet that group helped put him on a national platform, one that drew attention from politicians, world leaders, and even the FBI. As his influence grew, he married a bright woman who was college educated, a path he hadn't taken, and together they started a family with multiple children. He was an open opponent of affirmative action and even openly criticized Martin Luther King Jr., surprising many. But faith was central to his identity. He traveled to the Middle East, returning to America somewhat disillusioned and with an opinion that was slowly changing, giving more thought to global human rights. Yet he had enemies. As tensions rose around him, he confided to his inner circle that he feared his life was in danger. Then, in a flash, he was assassinated while speaking at an event, never living to see his 40th birthday. In the aftermath, many questioned whether people inside his own movement had anything to do with his death, while the FBI would be heavily scrutinized, accused of mismanaging the investigation at best, or downright covering facts up. His legacy is a complicated one, depending on who you ask. He was survived by his children and wife, who promoted his book after his death. The only problem is, the man I described is not Malcolm X. Because after Malcolm's death, his wife was grief-stricken, sleepless for weeks with nightmares, fearful of how she would provide for her family, and would devote her life to preserving her husband's legacy after her own pilgrimage to the Holy Land. No, listen closely again, because the man we've actually been describing was Charlie Kirk.
Okay. Now, we all know that Erica Kirk grieving is a little different than most, should we say? If she has any grieving at all. So I played you that to play you this because I seen the video I'm about to show you first, and when I seen it, I was like, "Man, that's really fucking good." And then when I seen the Malcolm X one when they first started, I'm like, "Man, that sounds like they're describing Charlie Kirk," and it was describing Charlie Kirk, but I didn't see exactly that they were going for the grief with Erica. But
right,
this one I call "Devil in the Details," and you'll understand when you see it. Check this out. We're going to discuss this.
Proved even more once he was assassinated. Once he was assassinated. Once he was assassinated.
Once he was assassinated, this indicates anticipation. Like, once you finish dinner, you can have dessert.
My entire speech has been wiped because my iPad won't even turn on.
God forced Erica Kirk to be off script so that we could hear her true voice.
But here's what I've learned the most in these past 3 months is that my husband, he deeply mattered on a multitude of levels, so much so that it proved even more once he was assassinated how much of a peacemaker he was.
This is coming from her mind. She was in anticipation of this event. That's why she said once he was assassinated. Because otherwise you would say after he was assassinated, this thing I didn't expect to happen, after our house burned down, not once our house burned down, but see, the planning that this took puts you in the mindset that it's once Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I realized this. This is crazy. And I know that there's going to be tons of people making excuses about why she's saying this. And if it was one isolated thing that she has said wrong or weird, I'd be like, all right, she's just a weird little thing. But no, there's no grief here whatsoever. There is anticipation. There is interest, excitement, business opportunity. When we asked Erica Kirk to answer our questions, she told us she was too busy building. That's what she's doing. She's building, not grieving, not taking care of Charlie's children. She is building a business once he was assassinated.
I say Egypt and my iPad turns on.
You give any of that, any cred to that? You think
dude, we discussed this. I mean, I totally believe that she was in on this, and I think she was a handler for him, and he got out of control. He was probably fixing to let some stuff fly, and they took him out.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buddy Newsom. Go ahead.
No, back to what he was saying, the words. That's how you catch people lying.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I mean, you think that has cred, that what she was saying? Because I think he's right. I mean, it was pretty eye-opening when I first seen it. I was like, oh, wow. I never even noticed something small like that.
It's kind of like Keystone Light, man. The truth always comes out smooth. It does. It comes out smooth, and it's never wrong.
Yep. You're right.
Lies are rough. But let's hear about Gavin.
Yo, Newsom, did you see this with his SAT score?
No, I'm sure it was
well, it's not so much
as his homeless.
Yeah, it's not so much as the score as it is what let me just play it.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
So he's talking to a black crowd. I'm just like you. I'm stupid. I'm racist.
Well, remember when Joe Biden told black people if they didn't vote for him, they weren't really black?
Yeah. God, dude. These people they're so out of touch with the regular people. That's just unbelievable. Somebody that's supposed to be so smart be so fucking stupid. Well, he's trying to tell us that he's stupid anyway.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
Look at me. I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know. Politicians teach their own, I guess, and that's going to run for president. I don't. That's just a younger Biden. That's all. That's all that is right there.
So all you dumb people go vote for him. I mean, that's your boy.
Yeah, and I got something for you because you always talk about how white people always talk out of turn for black people. Like black people can't speak for themselves. They always want to talk down to black people. I got something that encompasses this. This is basically, well, it's not basically, it is about voter ID. So check this. This is a what you call them when it's a panel where they put a whole bunch of people together and they're just asking questions. I think it was on Fox.
We all agree on that point. I just think that the reality is that an act like the SAVE Act is very likely more aimed at voter suppression and at keeping key demographics that the Republican Party does not want voting to not show out and vote. I think very often minority demographics.
That's not true.
No. So this is the thing where the suggestion is it's going to keep the black vote down. I've got two black panelists here. Ajwa?
That's not true.
Do you have ID and proof of citizenship?
Yeah, and if I need a copy of my birth certificate, it's just a matter of going online or going up to the department and asking for it and showing my information to get it. I mean, to say that it would negatively affect a minority group because they're somehow not educated enough to get these documents is completely outrageous.
Annie?
In my opinion, this should not be a controversial issue.
Yeah, no, it's not true. That's not. We gonna get our own fucking license. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, dude. They can do their own thing, and white people, shut the hell up, man. Jeez.
She was very respectful.
I swear, if I see a white person stand up for a minority again, I'm gonna be like, shut up. They can speak for themselves.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. She handled that a lot better than I would have, though.
Because I'd have looked at him and said, "Child, please."
Yeah, bitch. You better go home and suck your mama's titty. Get the fuck away from me.
Powder. And I'd have smacked the crap out of that kid.
Yeah, I figured. I found that. I was like,
man.
you know what? I'm bringing that on just for Jason. That's why I named it. Just play something for Jason.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, you been wanting to do that. Well, I wanted to leave with some thoughts on what we need to do. So there's a few videos I want to play. The first one's from Chaotic Concept. We heard from him earlier on Epstein. He's got some thoughts for us, and then he's gonna talk about. Let me get through Chaotic Concept first. Let's check this out.
These Epstein Files got everybody's head spinning. Why did they do it now? Why are they allowing us to talk about it? And because of that, I'm gonna step a little out of pocket and give my opinion on that. I like to teach, you know what I mean? Not influence. And this isn't something I like to admit, but if history tells us anything, it's they did it because nothing's gonna happen. And that's on us. Epstein's first conviction was in 2008. Most of the people I make videos about that were still associated with him was well after that. I mean, this isn't rocket science. I don't hold anybody else to a higher standard than I would hold myself. And knowing who this man was, that's a big no. And I would like to think that's the majority of people out there. But here we are. And once again, that's on us. For the past 5 or 6 years, we've watched people take to the streets for all different kinds of things. But let's be real here. It's always Greenland, or Venezuela, Israel, or Palestine. But things aren't right here at home. And most of the causes of those conflicts have to do with us. And even though we know that, why does nothing ever happen? Because it doesn't matter who it is in charge. If you have the information and you do not disclose it, that makes you at the very least complicit to the things that are continuing to happen. And do you really think any of these people are going to risk their finances or their freedom for us? Look in the history books. The answer is no. And even if you think we are minutely on the right track now, Do you really think that's gonna last forever? The next round of bad guys is sitting around watching everybody just sit on their thumbs and wait for somebody to save us. I'm sorry, but personally, that's not in the content of my character, just to sit around and wait. For what? The only way to make it stop and to change the status quo is to quit playing the game. Since we're talking status quo, the American public, known as the biggest army in the world, which I used to agree with, but in case you're not paying attention, the same technology that people are talking to on a daily basis is the same one they're gonna use to make sure that that's not the case. They can build more drones than we can make people. Until people can get it through their heads that the only way that we can make some serious change is not to agree on everything, but come together on a common goal, which should be to help our kids. Until then, the loop just continues, and we're sitting here picking up pieces, trying to figure out what's going on. So until then, it's bread and circuses. And if you don't know what that statement means, well, consider yourself part of the problem. Y'all stay safe.
Something pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It's all bread and circuses. Well,
bread and circuses.
Well,
Wonder Bread.
Yep. Let's in case our audience didn't know what bread and circuses are, let me give you a little information on that. Check this out.
In ancient Rome, the phrase bread and circuses captured the essence of a political strategy used by emperors to maintain public order and appease the masses. Coined by the poet Juvenal in the late 1st and early 2nd century AD, the term critiqued the superficial appeasement of citizens through free grain distributions and lavish entertainment rather than addressing serious public issues and civic responsibilities. The bread refers to the annona, the grain dole provided free to Rome's citizens to secure their loyalty and alleviate the hardships of the urban poor. The circuses, meanwhile, denote the grand spectacles held in arenas such as chariot races in the Circus Maximus and gladiatorial combats in the Colosseum. These events were not just entertainment, they were tools of social control, designed to keep the populace happy and distracted from the political and economic realities of the empire.
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. Then he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated.
Seems true to the
Entertain them. Yep. Feed them and entertain them. That's what they do.
That's all they got to do, and they just keep you busy enough, just enough to where you don't look up, and that's where they're happy
right.
at. Well,
don't look over here.
You got anything to add for tonight?
No, it was a good show.
Yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope you guys out there learned something, or if not, I mean, let us know if you don't disagree. Thanks for watching or listening. We greatly appreciate all two of you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. This is the Sense and Senseless Podcast. I am Brian.
And I am Jason.
He is Jason.
Peace.
Peace.